Yeah.
Morning, everybody. So, we'll kick off. Welcome. I'll start with their apologies, and we get apologies from Charles Scarsdale with the Community Board, and Phil is on the Community Board, and Wayne on the Jordan Community Board. So I'd like to move those specific Mia and against. So moved. I have not been told of any items of urgent business, including related ones. Those of a minor nature. So have we got any conflicts of interest that I'd like to prepare? So that would be gigs. Thank you very much, Mr. Piddington. Chairman's reports. So the last standing committees, a number of workshops have included and council meetings. A lunch meeting with public meeting with the Prime Minister, Governance of KNTC, a crossover with Waitaki, Nia and Nia's audit and risk, numerous people over the showgrounds development, and various licensing, and also meeting with my manager from the Work Commission Strategy. I'll move those from up to the second for me, Councillor Risk. Those in favour? So moved. Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes. So 6.1. Just would like to move the second those, Councillor Wills and Oliver. Those in favour? Against? So moved. Thank you very much. So we'll move on with our reports. 7.1, I'd like to welcome Nigel David and Chair Mark Rogers. So in relation to ARAC development, now no one has venture to the quarterly report 30th of June 2022. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you. And would you like to speak to that report?
Yep. Thank you very much. We'll take the report as read. As noted in there, it covers the last quarter of the year. There's also a commentary around the full-year outcomes. COVID obviously is commented on. Without delving into it too much, wages are, employment is holding up at the moment, and wage is as well at the moment, so the economy's in reasonably good shape. We do have some challenges which have been identified around the employment of female and youth workers, which is currently being worked through by the Chief Executive at the moment. Hopefully we'll get a plan around that in addition to wider government support. Moving into the rest of the report, we had the name change early in the year, so I just wanted to note that for councillors. Measurements throughout the report have been achieved, and we had some good successes through the year. I'll touch on a couple of them in regards to each area. Assisting businesses to retain and attract skilled staff. The My Next Move Youth Initiative contract, all measurements and reporting were met for the year, and it was nationally recognised as the basis for the Ministry of Education establishing 24 education to employment brokerage services, which was fantastic. It was recognised in the House of Representatives as well. And My Next Move won an Economic Development New Zealand Best Practice Award for collaboration. That was another good achievement. 1920 saw AD facilitate 2,229 individual students, which for the 3 years is now taken to 12,750, interacting with local businesses and industry. Further enhancements have been made to our suite of accessible online hard copy collateral for promotions associated with workforce attraction, and our unemployment as stated is holding at the moment. We received back our 116 responses to our survey. 94% of respondents have had direct involvement with AD, 86% of respondents acknowledged AD had added value to them, and respondents on average rated the ease of doing business in the Timaru district at 86%, which was up from 75% the year before. Regarding innovation and facilitating growth, ongoing scheduled meetings of the key industry groups, the BCGs, have continued. Transport and logistics has had good success getting students through and into employment, and as administrator of the local TNL panel, AD led the application for the Provincial Growth Fund, which was $600,000 received for 2 years course costs. Sustainable and Attainable is another large project that has been progressed with the food processing and manufacturing sector, and also Regional Apprenticeship Initiative, AD, now East Timaru, is the organisation doing the Mid and South Canterbury and North Otago in that area, and having assumed responsibility for districts' tourism operations, we've established the local tourism advisory board with sector representatives, and have commenced the Escape Timaru campaign already as part of the COVID-19 response. Professional services grants and free to list by local South Canterbury business listing platform is also put into place, and RAK Development is now a member of the Strengthening Families group as well, and are actively assisting the Migrant Centre with the first of the new residents. Regarding creating an environment to attract and assist new businesses, we have continued to develop and foster relationships with central government agencies, progress the database of available land in Moshpelo, Port and Redgrove, made introductions of new and existing business owners to industrial landowners, and the district influencer database has been established and updated. Key district stats and information be distributed. Regarding the financials, we had a surplus of $75,000 for the year. As you will note, the majority of that actually comes from the tourism and business sector, which we took over late in the piece. Those funds will be utilised for that and we set aside. Going forward, we're already into 2021. We plan obviously being October, so we're now reviewing the 2015 to 2035 ED strategy in combination with the long-term plan and the growth management strategy to get a revitalised document to drive our long-term strategic focus, and that'll include a destination management plan and 6-year economic development with strategy as well. And including for myself, before I pass over to Nigel in regards to that year, I'd like to thank the Mayor, Council and officers for their support and note Nigel's exceptional leadership through challenging times, and also the effort of our staff. An excellent organisation. So, I want to say.
If I do say so. Without missing an opportunity, thank you, Michael, and the sequence well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the Chair as well. Just one point of clarification, subsequent to this report being submitted, our final audited annual report has been completed, and the adjusted net profit for the year is 53.49. That's after around the accounting associated with some of the income advances associated with the loss of transport logistics and not excluded as well. So just a small adjustment. And just to take Mark's point around the refresh and update of the Council's 2015 to 2035 development strategy, we will complete that in line with a new destination management plan for the district, but we received some payment from the government through that stack fund of 400K. So we'll basically have one document for each Timaru that will be fully aligned through to the updated and refreshed development strategy, which having spoken to the council's chair, it's appropriate, given it's 5 years down the track, and we've also had COVID as well. So we'll be full alignment with that document right through to district plan, long-term plan, growth management strategy, also the Canterbury Renewal Forum's plans for Canterbury, and destination management strategy as directed by the Ministry of Business Innovation and Products on the funding to get one done. We'll make sure that it's aligned in this full collaboration with the neighbours and our wider region, so the New Zealand review as well. So pretty exciting time. So we'll kick that off. We'll get the scope out within the next few weeks. And the destination management plan will kick off this side of Christmas, and economic development strategy refresh will follow that, and obviously in line with the current district. So, stimulus fund, the 150,000 that came to us with the criteria of supporting and promoting events within the district that provide stimulus. That was fully allocated, and as at date, just well over half of that is actually been paid out. So we provided a paper, I think, through the council a couple of meetings back around the allocation of that throughout the district. Jordan was a very recipient through the festival out there. And also the farmers markets, which again is fully aligned to us being true to what their strengths are, which is that food and beverage sector. And as we've seen, I think the Tory, we can't lay full credit for it, but you know, the expansion and enhancement of the Tory farmers markets is an example of that. And the new farmers market obviously is important as well. So some good support there, and we thank council for giving us obviously the 150,000, but also a very clear mandate to get the money out the door and make those events and support those events that have been impacted recently by COVID and their ability to actually get from their normal sources. Over and above that, obviously Scott was a huge success. It was put together in a pretty quick time. The South Canterbury Outstanding Food Festival, if we get that right. There's a lot of scoffing going on. Thankfully, unfortunately, I was on leave for the 10 days it was on, which my waistline thanked me for. But next year, you'll see some enhancement through the year, still some prominence around the scoff. Heading into Christmas, there's some plans to reignite it. But next year, you know, the food processors, the 60 plus hospitality and the restaurants that were involved with that, which is fully on board, increased traffic through, increased their income, but pretty good time. But the food processors, you know, was talking about opening their doors up to the public around getting tours going, celebrity chefs, those sorts of things. So for a first up event, the team, especially Brian, did an absolutely outstanding job of the support for the food processors, the 25 plus of them, and the local community, and especially the hospitality and restaurants was outstanding. So it's a really good foundation to build on further. And the final bit I just want to close on is the government, over and above the stat funding we received of 400, they have a $10 million fund for domestic events funds, a domestic event fund it was called, and we were the voice of South Canterbury at the table with that, and we're very thrilled that just over 200,000 came into the wider South Canterbury community around some specific events from the Tory district perspective, the South Hall Masters Games and the Rock and Hop. And over and above that, it's a gift that keeps on giving almost. There's a regional events fund that the government has announced, of which the Canterbury region will receive $7 million. We're at the table there specifically for events aligned to the reduction in international business. So they are your events. We have some thoughts on that, and we're just unpacking that. Dyson went to next week to unpack how much of that may well come through into the Tory district as well. So, yeah, look, it has been a busy time. Really thankful for the support, obviously, of this committee, the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, and you as councillors, and also your senior staff. I can't thank you all enough. Thanks to Mark and the board for their support, and my staff for their passion. So happy to receive any questions in relation to the report.
Thank you, Michael. Open to councillors' questions and councillor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a question in regards to the transition organisation rebranding of Marae Government to East Timaru. What sort of cost was involved in that?
We set we set aside a budget of 15,000 and at date we've spent just under 5,000, which we did.
Thanks very much.
I've previously requested 6 changes of brand, name and colour, of which only 2 went to my board at the support of the staff, so the choices were limited, but we got there very quickly.
Thank you, councillor.
Okay, Nigel, I see one of the objectives is creating an environment to attract and assist new businesses, and you did achieve it. Can you actually give us some real examples of businesses that have come?
The new businesses that have come to the district have largely, or the new business that has come to the district have largely been a few of them, well, 2 or 3 of the main ones were some of our existing businesses moving into a new stream of business with through the COVID process. In terms of larger businesses, there has been a couple on the hook for a number of years that we've spoken to, unfortunately, deferred their decisions through the COVID process as well. So, the ones that we have been directly involved in are as per our statement of intent, which are specifically either new business, which is either new, completely new businesses coming to the district, or it's existing businesses that are coming on stream. So, in relation to that, we assisted Galakia in relation to adapt in relation to COVID, and likewise a couple of builders as well. So, but specifically new large business that we have been directly involved in. To be honest, there have been a few and far between in this last 12 months.
Thank you. But it's fair to say that everyone's coming through that twilight zone of COVID, and that's affects a lot of people, and you've worked quite nimble around what you came up with in terms of packages to help our community through that, and that's what we see, Venture Timaru being all about, and you achieved some really good things for the community, and you've certainly achieved so many milestones across our strategic pillars for performance, and we thank you for your ongoing work around that as an entity for as a CCO for our council.
Yeah, sorry, just one final point I want to make. The current environment that we have in Timaru district, we're better off than probably 95% plus of the country, given our backbone industries. We've been busy right through COVID and beyond. Our biggest challenge at the moment is our workforce. Our workforce, in fact, our labour market, if anything, has got tighter through COVID. And we're in a situation where we need people through a variety of roles, not just seasonal roles that come into our food processors or out into our paddocks, etc., but middle management roles and senior management roles as well. And we are in a position, given the current settings on our bringing in of critical workers, which have been relaxed to some extent by the government, we are still pushing for even more. But one of the biggest challenges with that is that yes, we can and are doing some workforce attraction campaigns, but we have a very tight housing market. Our rental market is pretty tight as well. So we can attract them, but the challenge is actually housing them as well. So I think it's a good problem to have, given the strength of our local economy, but it also presents a significant challenge for us as well. And I'm not saying us as Venture Timaru, talking of us as the wider community. Just thought it was appropriate to add that comment.
And leading with an exterior organisation around trying to place people in 3 positions locally, the demographic of those actually applying for jobs from all over New Zealand now, even highly capable people. One of the things that did drop out of that, the moment you shortlisted them, they were picking up jobs from left, right, and centre, making it quite difficult. there's a lot of very high capability in the brain gain aspect of that. We need to make sure that we are getting our fair share of how that actually works. So, Councillor Rowley, I presume you're going to move this report. You have a comment?
I can. The only one comment I've got, what is your name?
Venture.
Right, because you spoke of
That's because I was
back there. I think that's where, so you're not AG anymore, you're Venture Timaru.
I reckon relevant, this report is for the end of financial year, so from the 1st of July, we are.
Yeah, just a little confusing, but that's fine. Thank you for the clarification. I will leave it.
Thank you. We will remove that report when they were.
Places that
Thank you.
you.
Not so confusing. Okay, thank you very much. Someone like to second that? Councillor Parker. All those in favour? Again, so moved. Thank you very much. Moving on to 7.2, review of scholarship of council activities and facilities policy, and I'd like to David Fox to talk to that report. David.
Morning, councillors. So I'll take the report as read. There are a couple of things I'd like to highlight for your consideration in the amended policy. Consideration for council controlled organisations and how they may fall under this policy or not. Probably the best example is Southern Trust Event Centre. It is owned by a council controlled organisation and there is sponsorship within that facility. And so how that aligns also then with the likes of BT and how they will be, if they are seeking sponsorship for an event or a program or something or other, whether they will be covered by this policy. They probably, we can't force them to force them. This is a council policy rather than a CCO policy, but whether they would include the similar principles or develop their own policy. So that's the first one. The second one is another interesting one on assets to be vested in council. So the best example of this is Sea Play and Lake Bike Park. And so they are going to be going out seeking sponsorship, naming rights and such, and how they will, once they're invested back in Timaru, whether, and TDC, whether that sponsorship and particularly naming rights and signed, whether that aligns with this policy. So that's the second one, and the third issue is the duration of naming rights. So the current policy allows for naming rights to the extent of the facility, and there is an option of kind of limiting that, or whether that remains within a sponsorship agreement. So that's basically all I would like to highlight. There are some amendments to the delegations manual, but they're pretty standard and non-obtrusive. And so I'll take any questions on the policy, the draft policy as presented.
Perhaps Councillor Booth, in terms of your position on leadership, do you see any issue around adopting or sitting under that policy or staying outside of it? No, that's right. Yeah, no, thanks. Awesome. Any questions? Any other questions in relation to that?
Yeah, just, I guess I'm concerned in the old days you might have been the naming rights for a long time. Things change pretty quickly these days, and also there can be big money associated with them. So I wouldn't like to see any policy where it was just endless. Pretty clear around that, and also with ones being invested to us, we need to have discussions around it so that, because I guess after Sea Play, any of those things invested will be maintenance costs and ongoing costs, and I wouldn't like to see naming rights given away or deals done that we're tied into. So I'm not quite sure how we get around that, but that's just a couple of things that concern me within the policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd just like to echo Councillor Pelican's comments, name rights. I think on a event centre makes sense, but then, name rights within a playground, as an example, is interesting how you work through that in the public realm. So there's some, there's some concerns, issues there. You like to add any?
Yeah, so you will note that within the policy, the naming rights for events and facilities are to be approved by council. I guess that does raise then, say, the bike park, and I presume the idea is that they're going to fundraise through the naming of possibly streets or things like that is what I've seen done elsewhere. And obviously you don't want every street kind of to be coming to council in that instance, but I guess we can, obviously we can have discussions with those two particular, I guess they're quite high profile ones that are coming up, so we can obviously, the managers responsible for those areas to be having those conversations. But that, those ones that immediately, once the stimulus fund was going through, I was like, oh, we don't want DB Brewery's Park Lane or, those sorts of streets necessarily within that Caroline Bay facility. I think that's probably more of, because we can't, we don't own those assets until they're vested back into us, even though they're on our property. So I think there's probably more of a conversation with those particular organisations. I can't see that they would. It's not a big giant leap to say, well, we're not going to name a street after an alcohol venue or a cigarette company, or for the likes of those organisations.
It was just like the DB, I thought maybe.
I was wondering whether you wish.
It would be double brown. We'd double brown here.
So I understand exactly what we're talking about, and as the policy does, we'll get enough overview when it comes back to us. There'll be a different delineation between naming a actual park and a playground as opposed to an individual slide or section of being sponsored by someone. It's just like Seabay aspects of that have where sponsors have picked up certain aspects on walls and bits and pieces. So I think there is definitely enough structure within this for us to have that overview and oversight that comes back here. Any further questions?
Sorry. Can I just make one quick amendment on the fly? So on point 9 of the delegations, there may be sort of other subsequent amendments, but to change that to naming rights, so 9.1 of the draft policy, naming rights for council events and maybe whole facilities. So then we're not bringing reports up with one part of a facility, and that would be sit better with the manager for that activity to approve or such like. Are we happy with that?
Yeah, that's quite helpful, and I'm quite happy to do that. And I just think, just tracking the issues that were raised here earlier on, at the end of the day, it does come back to council. I think we've got the governance and the overview before final decisions be made. I think it's the most key thing. Back up with council, I think see it's something that an open sort of limited sponsorship here. I think those days are gone. We still get governance overview, and I think that's one of the decisions to be made here in council. Some good discussion and debate. So happy to move it.
Thank you, Deputy Neil. So actually what are we moving? So we've got options and preferred options. So we're looking at those firstly. We'll take those on. So adopting with that modification option 1. With that. Second of that, please, Councillor Gilchrist. All those in favour? Against, and we do have also to move down there in regards to recommendations that those delegations are reflected in the revised delegations in that manual. Is everyone across those happy that we move them? No, Will's just going to move those and second. All those in favour? So moved. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So So going to move to 7.3 and looking at the overview 2020 and 2021 capital program dashboard. Welcome to table Ash.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. The overview report is prepared from information we've gathered from throughout the organisation. Lily has done a lot of that work. There are some refinement that we'll introduce for the next meeting in terms of the colour box chart about some differentiation about work in there that's been completed, that's committed, and that is attended. So we want to refine that. And now that the finance bill finished the annual report, then they'll be able to help us refine that. And as well as this, the government has allocated council 6.86 million of additional money, which is project based. And once we get the delivery plan ticked off for that, which will be this month, we've submitted it, and then the numbers in here will increase because there's more work to be done. And there are, at this stage, very few projects, as in 1%, 2 projects that are looking to be on track. The rest are looking still on track as much as can be expected, recognising, I might say, that 12% of our projects, that's a number, are contingency based. And by that is finding a new cemetery site, pumps wear out and replaced, but if you don't do that, then it's not required and the money's not spent. So it's the highly feasible that gets the first attention, which is 53.5 plus 6.8 comes. Happy to take questions. Sorry, the last one is you do have a photo there, and that's work at Community Residence. So it's not of significant size to be a key project in which you get 6 individual reports per meeting round. This is one of the other projects that are sort of the next tier, and so we have a photo. Give you a photo, another point of interest. Very important.
Thank you. Open to questions. Brilliant report, thank you. And again, it's these systems that are laying out, informing councillors, forming public, and exactly what's going on.
That's right. And at the last meeting, there was a question asked about are we using these in a wider forum?
Yes.
Forum. And yes, we are. The content of the downloads was used in a public flyer that went out to all of Downlands consumers end of last month. And they are on a website, a little bit difficult to find, but Stephen's rearranging that so they're becoming more of a banner so they can be easily found if they're there, but you just got to tip for them. So we're going to upgrade that as well.
Awesome. Someone like to move that and wish to be here and second Councillor Lyons. All those in favour? Yes. Thank you, Lily. Thank you. So 7.4 progress report of the Peter Royal and Heritage Facility Development and Social Housing Installation Compliance Project. That's 7.4 on page 39. Welcome. I'd speak to that.
Madam Chair, thank you. Welcome, councillors. So we're into third week this week of our internal stakeholder meetings. So you'll have some invites that you'll see come out in a couple of weeks. We'll come and report to you. So the architects are on board. They've been to visit the theatre hall. We've had a walk around of the wider precinct. We have looked through the Army Hall, so they're starting to gather some commentary from stakeholders. We've had people from the theatre, those that are involved, friends of the theatre, those that are actually do work within the theatre, the fire systems, etc. We've had those that do sound, those that do the lighting, and now we're actually also working with those from the museum. We want to talk to the education team. We've had a meeting with the museum team. So we're gathering quite a lot of information. The architects and the group would like to come to you in a couple of weeks at the end of one of your council sessions to report back about some of the stakeholder commentary, some of the themes that are coming through from the general public that are quite connected and also for Carson and the team and via us to give you some of our thoughts around the scope of the project as a whole and get some guidance and some feedback. So it's on track. We've begun doing some really good work there, and we'll begin to expand that circle when we get to the end of this prelim, as we then work through the concepts and then come back with some thoughts and ideas for you. Status, anything else or any questions?
And just I was a bit remiss that Nicole's our new property manager, so welcome.
Thank you.
So open to questions.
Nicole, yeah, just wondered when the earliest we'd get a feel for the budget of what it's going to cost.
That will be after the QS is appointed and they've been able to do some work, so that's still a few months away. But you've really got, in terms of project, and Nicole's working on this, is get the concepts and then get the QS to be able to put a ruler over it. So
We're out with the evaluations right now for QS. We have the QS team and the planners, and by the end of this week, next week, we'll have done our RFP process and we're ready to appoint. So we have appointed the engineering structure. We're just in negotiations with those, and then next week, the week after, we'll have appointed a QS and a planner. So we're making great progress in that area. And then once the prelim is finished, we get an idea, come back to you, get some more thoughts around scope. We'll be able to start to flesh out some more around those costs. Bear in mind that I'm feeling that we should continue to look at some supporting fundraising, because there's a backstory to some of what we're doing here. So extra storage, what will happen with the museum. But we'll flesh that out some more when we come back to you with the prelim. But I'd like to keep that fundraising up our sleeves. A lot of tech going into this new building and supporting the museum and the theatre. So until we get a real feel for what that's going to look like. But a great, I think we've got a sizable sum there. There is no reason why we can't work to that. What I'd like to do is support that with extra fundraising if we need.
Good questions around that. Move on to the.
Sorry, just got one. Sorry, you brought up fundraising. Is that external fundraising?
Yes.
Who's going to drive that?
We have had an approach by a gentleman that was previous to this before I came on board, Steve Brimley. I don't know if Don would like to speak some more. It's been a connection with him, but we're going to actually have to talk to them and have around more external funding. That could be lottery grants, but specifically targeted towards items not necessarily the project itself, but it may be supporting extra fly systems, or it may be extra storage, or it could be particular fit out for the exhibition hall, the temporary exhibition hall, just to flesh out what we're going to need, but we don't know what that's going to look like just yet. So do you want to speak more Steve Brimley's background on?
Yes, so prior to the shuttle reading announcement, we actually been developing a fundraising strategy and merged to friendly we actually worked with us on the survey project. And it's been really good experience to come down and talk to a number of people and want to take so when we move forward with the actual fundraising drive, we're taking more fundraising in. That will, you guys will be activated, I guess, for that process as well. So there is actually a reference group that we've got established to have input into design, input into the fundraising and how we take that forward. So I think that would be, we've got some specific funds that we would target and some specific units and section of the, so your less specific funds that we would target, that would be us doing it, then to the extent that we're going out to the community and local businesses. That would be participation so we would have the profits to be trying to see if flesh out what additional related projects might come on for the few of us.
Yes.
I was just wondering, you're obviously scoping things at the moment and taking consideration of the property around and how that's going to be worked into the overall concept. I was just wondering, will there be options for that, or simply you come back with basically a concept plan, which is what it will be, pretty much?
So we are looking at the wider circle, activation of Stafford Street, so linking into the CBD group, etc. So thinking about what a facility of that nature and that size can actually bring to downtown Timaru. Who is it for? Who is going to activate and connect with it? And how that is going to have a spill-on effect to the commercial element around it. So we have had Mark Geddes and Alex join us, along with talking about heritage, looking at the district plan, thinking about the other community facilities that sit around this, and the library, the art gallery, Sea Bay, and just looking at what the overall picture is, what the footprint will be, the streetscape, the heritage precinct, and the surrounding commercial businesses, because with an input of this nature and size of dollar from a council, that is an automatic signal to the wider commercial world to get active. And you'll see that spill out. So using and being wise about the money you have, connecting that to your buildings and allowing the backfill and the other things you would like to activate in that area, let the commercial market bring that dollar. Let them fill in and connect them with more foot traffic and the community as a whole. So it is a whole, it's quite a holistic picture, but certainly we'll take that into consideration.
So obviously the city hub strategy will be sort of some part of that discussion.
Personally, I feel it's a good connection. I feel bringing in, talking to the Chamber of Commerce and CBD group and others hopefully tomorrow, we'll get kids and confirmations. They're part of the stakeholder group, and I think it's quite an important linkage and an opportunity for you to have the CBD group come a little bit closer to this. There's a spill-on effect for them, absolutely, and a great opportunity, and wants to change what you're doing downtown. So it's worthy of bringing that prelim back, looking at the bigger picture for you all, and you have some input to your thoughts and feelings at that point. Thank you.
Any further questions on that? So move on to that 4.2 in relation to the social housing regulation compliance.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair and councillors. That has progressed. We've had the first two contractors begin those works. So this is by Philip Steens, who's managing that project for us. So I can confirm that work has begun. That project is underway. And as we move through the next 2 or 3 weeks, there'll be further input. And we're looking to the third contract are about to start, but it is underway and on time.
Any questions? Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge those two reports. They are very comprehensive and very informative. Thank you. So from there, I'll get someone to move that report's accepted. Councillor Gilchrist and Wells, all those in favour? Aye. Against? So carried. Thank you. I need to start being quiet. What is this? Sorry. Only to be quiet. Okay, moving on to 7.5 and on page 43, and it's lease renewals.
So just really wanted to bring talk about the situation with the Temuka Sports Club leases. These are leases that were put in place back prior to the amalgamation of the Borough Council to Borough District Council. The leases were 30 plus 30-year leases, so we're at 30-year renewal. I actually had a delegation to approve them, but just given the long-term nature of it, I felt that I should bring them to the council to provide that visibility to really into those arrangements. So I see that here the clubs that are affected, so it's hockey, bowling, swimming, cricket, tennis, rugby, soccer, and golf. Most of the clubs have sort of seasonal shared use of the facility, the exception being rugby and actually golf, and actually rugby's got some grounds exclusively like rugby and touch. All grounds and bowling, so that's facility accessibility. Otherwise, the leases are more like we call a license stock, because they're really not exclusive. So, but they're term leases. So I just really wanted to bring it to attention that we're entering into these 30-year renewals. Basically, we certify that the tenants have complied and there was no sort of competing priority use. The meter leases. That's the reaction for us to do that. So, any questions?
Mayor Wills.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, just want to acknowledge too that I appreciate that this information is coming back to council, because yes, you could have probably navigated it, but also to give some certainty for these supporting organisations moving forward for the future. So I'm quite happy to just acknowledge that as well. So thank you.
Councillor Lyons.
Well, at least all I wish to say is that I'll move the recommendation.
Fantastic. Councillor Hiddington, mind to second that?
So I've got a question actually.
Yes, sir.
I'm just interested what the Temuka Swimming Club actually lease offers.
Cool. So they got their leases, this is what I said, they're called leases, but they're more like licenses, so, which is not really a legal estate as such, it's more of a contract to use it. So the swimming club, between the period of November and March every year, get the right to use the pool 3 nights a week for 3 hours, essentially, that's what they're right, so.
Just one question on that.
Yes.
Can I just ask a question, because it raises a very interesting thing that we had here as a council a number of years ago. We had Seabay. We had some private instructors that wanted to develop and grow a road swimming club for education and learning to swim programs. How did that tie in then with this sort of agreement that we have in place with Temuka? After we wanted an independent swimming coach and or developer learn to swim programs. So there you go. I'm throwing that out there. Yeah. Through you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry.
So I think it's basically an agreement to reach at the time with regards to just the arrangement and what we're comfortable with. We've got prior occupation to around those time frames, but I think this sort of document again, I don't think you do it this way, because it's really an arrangement between us and the club about their right to use the facilities. So, and you could do that for any other club as well, outside of, their exclusive use terms. So,
Yes, and have a second. Very good. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? So carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I have no other recreation business, consideration of recreation business for a line in nature. I'll move on to public disclosure to have Councillor Gilchrist, second Councillor Parker.